Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning. It is 11:07. It is a little bit late because I was working on something. I was writing. There we are. Now we've caught up. I was working on something and catching up, and I noticed only because my alarm went off that it was 11, and I was like, oh, but I needed to finish what I was doing because otherwise I would have lost the thread of it. And I know if you ever do any kind of creative work or whatever, you can get lost in something, and if you don't capitalize on it in that moment, then you'll lose the thread. And so I didn't want to lose the thread. So I'm a few minutes late, and that's completely okay because I run on Pagan Standard Time anyway. Good morning, it's Monday. It is September 26th. It is the last Monday of September. We just had the fall equinox, so we are headed into the darker time of the year. This is the last gasp of of summer really, or the end, and the light and dark are balanced, and now the days get shorter and the temperatures get colder, and frankly fall is my favorite season on ever. So it's Mother Nature's incredible way of showing us how beautiful it is to let go and surrender and allow change. And oh, the crispness of the air, apple picking, sweatshirts, I love all of it. And I know there are some people out there who just sort of last dying gasp hold on to summer, and then there are people who are already decorating for Christmas, and I'm like, slow down, because I do really feel like there's something magical in being present in each season, in each turn of the wheel. Please excuse me because I am getting over COVID for the second or potentially third time. Um, I apparently my body really knows what it's like to attract this disease, um, because I am a healer and I'm going to learn surrender first, and that's what I'm going to teach you guys. So I apologize for this cough nasal thing going on. If you believe it, I feel infinitely better than I did last week, so that's a good thing. One of the things I want to talk to you about today. Oh, and it's also Rosh Hashanah. It's the Jewish New Year. So Shana Tova to any of my friends who celebrate. And may your year be filled with sweetness and blessings. So what I want to talk to you about today is exactly what I was just writing. I was just writing this question out. It's an exercise I've done before, but it's always helpful. And I'm part of a Facebook challenge to really refine your message. And not that I feel like my message needs refining, but it's always a good practice to get into anyway. And so the first thing that we were asked to do was to ask 7 whys. Ask a question, get an answer. Why do I do this? And then ask it 7 more times. Like take something from the thread of what you just wrote, and it's good to write it out because you want to be able to like see it. So take what you just wrote as a thread and go down one layer, go down one layer, go down one layer, and you ask it 7 times. And ultimately, ideally, you should get to this place of the real heart, the real meat of what you're trying to accomplish. And please say hi if you're joining us and drop me a line. And if you're watching a replay, let me know that too. Um, I'm here every Monday morning, and if you can't catch me live or whatever, I post it on Fierce Happy Women. I also post it on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel which I can drop in the comments for you. So I have a million places for you to follow me. Francine, my friend Francine, and I are putting together a podcast. We are calling it Forever Fierce, so stay tuned for that. But I will still be doing Mondays with Robin live here, and I keep trying to figure out, can I make what I already have into a podcast? I may have to start new, but whatever. That's a problem for another day. But so I just asked the question. I just asked the 7 whys question, and the question for me was obviously, why am I a healer? Why am I a spiritual teacher? Why, actually, the question was, why did I choose this? And And what she then refined it to is, or why did it choose you? And I want to read you my answers. Um, it's good for me to be able to speak it out loud, but also because I feel like it may resonate with some of you. Why did I choose to be a healer? Actually, her refining of the question, why did it choose me, is actually more accurate because I actually don't think I chose to be. I mean, I'm probably my soul chose to come in. I have the soul of a healer. I feel like though it was chosen for me. I feel like this is something I have always been and known. I was listening to a podcast this weekend with Danica Patrick and Robert Edward Grant, and it's like so deep. I've had to listen to it a couple of times, and it's so fascinating. I mean, they're talking about quantum physics, and they're talking about the uncertainty principle, and the how we the way we look at things changes the way things are when in the quantum field. It's amazing, and it's not it's not something I didn't know, and I feel it's something I've always known. So I know I came in to this world with a mission, and that was the first why. When I asked why did this choose me, the first answer came because I really do want everyone alive to know that they truly matter and that they're truly enough as is. That you don't have to do anything or create it. Like as enough as is, you are enough and you have always been enough. And right now, the world needs your light, needs our light. I know this. I know this like I know my name. And that's my elevator pitch. That's usually what I say to people. Why do I do what I do? Why am I a happiness coach? Usually that's what I say. That's the first thing. So that's what came out first, is that I really truly know that if every single person alive could experience life, even if it's just for a minute, even if they just tap it for a minute, knowing that you matter and you're here and you're enough as is, that's how we heal. That was my first why. And right now the world needs our light. And so then my second why was why? Why does the world need our light? Why? And the answer that came out was because the world right now feels chaotic. It feels out of control. And one of the things I know is that when you have that internal place of just knowing that I am here and I am home and I belong here, the world outside doesn't actually feel so scary and chaotic anymore. And we as humans have forgotten that that's why we're here. The next why. Why do we need that? Why is it so important? The next why was because our job as humans right now is to experience all of life, the messiness, the quirks, the foibles, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pain, the sadness, the happiness, the joy. We're here to experience all of it. And we can't do that because we're trying to be perfect or hide or play by the rules or fit in, or there's all those other things that we're trying to be, like I was trying to fit my rainbow peg self into a square hole, which was why I thought there was something wrong with me my whole life. Why do we want to be perfect and play by the rules? Why are we spending all of our time playing by these rules? And the answer is because it was the constructs, the rules, the concepts have been made by humans that live in fear. And then the why of that is, why are people so afraid? And people are afraid because we're afraid that you'll see that we're just faking it, that that we don't have our shit together, that we're not good enough, that there's something inside of us that's broken or wrong or bad, and we're trying all we can to get rid of that energy. To nope, I'm gonna hide it, I'm gonna put it away, I'm gonna put it in a closet somewhere. And right now, the shadow is up for everybody. It's up for everybody. Because we're spending all of our time and energy and effort and attention on what we don't want. I don't want that. I don't want to feel this. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to feel this way. I ask my clients all the time, what is it you want? And it almost inevitably, they start with, I don't want to feel this way anymore. Awesome. Great. What do you want? And it's really challenging for my clients sometimes to actually figure out what they want. And I know I'm living this. I have done some intense meditations with my guides recently where they really drilled me down on what do I want? Because I'm very good at focusing on what I don't want. But that's what the whole world is doing right now, which is why the shadow is up. So then my next question is, why are our shadows ruling us? Because we're spending all of our time and energy on what we don't want. And then the last, I actually did another why. I did 8, and I said the world feels scary because shadow work seems scary. And what I got to ultimately is, one of the things I've always been good at is holding space and making safe places because I never felt safe. And so I'm very, very good at helping other people feel safe. So why me? Why now? Because I can actually help you feel safe. And then the shadows aren't so scary and the demons aren't really demons. They just need love and affection and compassion. And we just have to sit and then we get back to, because everybody alive could know what it feels like to be their amazing selves and to know that they matter and they're good enough as is. Life happens, society happens, the world teaches us over and over and over and over again that who we are is not okay. It teaches us as women and men. If you're not a stereotypical man who's big and strong and boys don't cry, which no men is when they're first little kids, right? So that men are never taught to feel their feelings. In fact, they have it sort of broken out of them. And women have been trying for millennia to fit into a man's world, and so we don't actually know how to do it either. And so we've got wounded masculine and wounded feminine, and nobody actually feels like they're good enough or worth it or okay or enough. Deep down, you're good enough as long as you have the house and the kids and the car and the money in the bank. Or you fit in some sort of societal role somewhere. But what if you're good enough as is without having to prove or do or be anything other than who you are? You don't have to lose 10 pounds. You don't have to have a certain career. You don't have to have a certain anything. You could be homeless on the street. It doesn't matter. You're worth just as much as a Fortune 500 CEO. In fact, I would argue that you may be worth more because you have more potential. You have more light to share. Because the darkness is you can only go as light as you can dark. So if you go to the dark, 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 dark places, that means your capacity for light is extraordinary. I have been to the dark places. I've been to some really dark places. And I do so when I get there. It's always because I want to choose my light. But I can't choose it if I don't know what my darkness is. You can't be light if you can't acknowledge the darkness. That's what the equinox is about. It is about the yin and the yang. It is about the balance of the light and the dark of the sun and the moon and the earth and the sky. It is about balance. And so Libra season is also about balance. It is about the scales. It is about fairness and equality and equity. That's the season that we're in right now. We have a billion planets. Like there's 6 planets that are retrograde right now. It's nuts. We have come to this like complete stasis point. And we have, I mean, that's a natural rhythm of the world. But also energetically right now, it's the result of 2.5 years of humanity upgrading from a pandemic, surrender, 2.5 years of shaking up everything that was normal so that normal no longer is, 2 millennia of focusing on what we don't want. And so I've been saying it for a long time that humanity is in this huge upgrade. It's a huge upgrade that we're in right now. We're being asked right now. We're alive right now. Every single person alive right now is alive because we chose to be alive right now so that we can shine our light. But we can only shine our light if we're willing to sit in the shadows and make peace with them. That there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing ever been wrong with you. Whatever someone well-meaning and well-intentioned person, I don't care who it was in your world, or maybe it was everybody in your world who told you that who you are was not okay. I am the rainbow sheep of my family. I've always kind of never fit in. I didn't fit in necessarily with my friends. I didn't fit in with my family. I've always been an oddball kid. Always. I finally made peace with the fact that I was an oddball kid because I was always going to stand out. That's really hard for us. It's really hard as children. I watched Lily go into school today, really feeling uncomfortable because of the way her overalls were fitting her. And I kind of pushed the issue, mostly because we were running late and I didn't give her the option. But because I wanted her to actually sit in that discomfort a little bit, not because I want her to be miserable, because I know what it's like to be 10 and not fit in anywhere and be so concerned with whether or not your peers are going to like you. I remember that feeling. I know that feeling. I know it well. And also because I wanted her to I wanted her to be able to choose anyway. Who knows, was it the right thing to do? I don't know, but we were already dressed and late and whatever. But I watch it happening. I watch it and I see this across the board. I see this with my clients. I see this with friends. I see this with colleagues. Like we're all still trying to fit in to a mold that doesn't actually work anymore. And that's the point. We're supposed to be changing and growing and becoming. And we can only do that if we face down our demons, which aren't really demons at all. They're just the parts of us that need love and affection and compassion. The title of the call today, the title of the live today was, "What is your why?" And yeah, I'm using it for business, but it's my mission in life. Like this is a life calling. I do this all the time, whether or not I'm actually making a living at it, because it's my life calling, and I have been this way my whole life. What's your life calling? What's your why? What are you being called today to create, to be? Can you drill it down? Do the 7 whys or the 8 whys or the 9 whys, whatever, to get to the place of like, why are you here? Why does the world need your light? Because it does. So maybe just for today, figure out why. And if you can't figure it out on your own, and maybe you can't because there's too much shadow in the way, let me help you. Join the Chakras of Happiness class. Join a Ho'oponopono class. To work with me one-on-one. I don't care. Do healing. Do one-on-one healings with me. So I have more profound changes with my clients with healings sometimes than 4 coaching sessions. Do the stuff to clear out 4 weeks to fierce happiness. Clear out the things that no longer serve you so that the world can see your light. Because I really do promise you, the world needs it. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Monday. I love you all.